All right, well, good evening, everyone. Great clapping out there. So glad to have you join us here at Asbury for our annual Americana Concert. This evening, our concert is entitled Heroes and Heroines. We're going to be exploring some of our favorite American musical heroes. We're going to be celebrating a few real-life heroes and heroines and a few unexpected ones along the way. But all in all, it's going to be a fun evening of great music as we celebrate some American heroes and heroines. We're going to start our musical journey with the music of Richard Rodgers. With 43 Broadway musicals and over 900 songs to his credit, he was one of the most well-known American composers of the 20th century. He was the first person to win the top 4 awards in the American entertainment categories of theater, film, recording, and television. That's an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony, now known collectively as an EGOT. Talk about a true American musical hero. Well, I think you're going to recognize this next song. Would you give it up for our children's choir as they sing Richard Rodgers' Do Re Mi? Awesome job, boys and girls. Awesome job. Now, boys and girls, I'm going to dismiss you to where your parents are seating. Parents, grandparents, if you would please stand so your child can see where you are. Maybe give a little wave. And children, as soon as you see where they are, go to them, not anywhere else. Make sure you can see. And friends, I'm so sorry. I forgot to introduce myself earlier. How rude of me. My name is Michael Kemp. I am the director of traditional music here at Asbury. But tonight, I'm going to be your host as we travel through this musical journey together. So please forgive me for that. But would you give it up one more time for our fabulous children's choir getting us started tonight? Our next selection is In the Mood, composed in 1939 by Glenn Miller, one of the biggest names from the big band era. During World War II, Miller enlisted in the United States Army and became the leader of the Army Air Force Band. And as you probably know, his music was far more than just entertainment. It was a form of emotional support as it helped to boost the morale of our troops serving on the front line. Miller's music is still able to do that today, still able to entertain and lift our spirits. So without any further ado, let's turn it over to Asbury Empowered Light as they take us into the mood of an unforgettable era. my goodness. One more time, we heard from Rich Gable on the tenor saxophone. We heard from our lead trumpet, Mr. Mike Bennett, back there wailing. And over here on the drums, we let him out of his cage just for a little bit, Mr. Steve Beatty. Woo! Asbury Power and Light one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Awesome. Well, friends, hymns, whether sung in churches or during revival meetings or even in the home, hymns have been a cornerstone of worship in America since the beginning of our nation. Our next selection is going to feature a medley of some familiar hymns like Come Ye Sinners Poor and Needy, Simple Gifts, When I Can Read My Title Clear, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, How Firm a Foundation, and of course, Amazing Grace. Hymns like these have become not just the soundtrack of American Christianity, but a reflection of the heart and soul of the American's experience. Now, some of these hymns, while they may have roots outside of the United States, in many ways, the heroes and heroines of American Christianity are reflected in the lyrics of these hymns. Ordinary people whose extraordinary faith help shape the spiritual life of our country. Friends, we want to invite you to sing along as Asbury's Choir and Orchestra lead us in Camp Kirkland's montage of American hymns.
So
I heard a few of you singing along out there. You might come and talk to me afterwards. We might get you in the choir. Well, friends, earlier you heard me talk about some of the heroes we're going to explore tonight. Now it's time for some of those unexpected musical heroes. We're going to transport you into the digital world of the classic video game, Super Mario Brothers. How many of you out there, raise your hands if you grew up playing a little Super Mario Bros., or if your parents told you to stop playing, get away from that TV screen because you played too much. All right. Well, Super Mario Brothers, in the world of gaming, few characters are as beloved as Mario and Luigi. Since their first appearance in 1985, they've been running, jumping, traveling through pipes to save the day in countless video games, television shows, and yes, even in movies. At its core, Super Mario Brothers is about the classic hero's journey. Mario and Luigi, they face challenges, grow stronger with each level, and they overcome adversity for the greater good. This dynamic duo reminds us that even in the most fantastical worlds, like the Mushroom Kingdom, heroes are made through perseverance, courage, and a willingness to overcome obstacles. This is the Super Mario Brothers medley. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That certainly brought back a few memories for me, I'll have to admit that. Well, friends, throughout our nation's history, our military personnel have been at the forefront of defending the freedoms we hold dear. Each branch of the military has its own unique role, and each member, whether during times of peace or conflict, plays a crucial part in keeping our nation safe and strong. Friends, at this point of our program, we want to take a time to recognize and honor the brave men and women, heroes and heroines of our armed forces. So friends, if you have served or if you are currently serving, when you hear your respective branch's song being performed, would you please stand so we can honor you for your service to this country? Space Force! The United States Navy! Marines! Friends, one more time, if you have served or are currently serving in the Armed Forces, would you please stand once again so we can thank you, recognize you for your service to our country. And friends, if you are family members of someone serving or someone who has served, family members, would you stand as well so we can honor you for your service and your sacrifice? Thank you so much, friends. You may be seated. Well, our next piece, Summon the Heroes, was commissioned for the 1996 Summer Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia, and was composed by the great musical hero, John Williams. Now, I think most of us would agree that John Williams has had an incredible influence on our lives. His music doesn't just accompany movies, it has become almost kind of the soundtrack to our lives. From cheering on our favorite heroes on the big screens or rooting for the Olympic athletes, his work has provided the musical backdrop for some of the most memorable moments in modern American history. As we listen to Summon the Heroes, let us be reminded that heroes come in all different forms. Some may be athletes who defy expectations. Others may be musicians like John Williams, who inspire us with their artistry, but each of them have the same core traits: hard work, determination, and the ability to inspire others to greatness. Friends, this is John Williams' Summon the Heroes. We're going to give our brass a chance to rest because that's a chop buster, isn't it, guys? Can you give it up for our orchestra one more time? They've been just doing a wonderful, wonderful job. Well, friends, our next selection was commissioned to mark the 30th anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing, one of the most devastating tragedies in American history. This piece is appropriately titled Elegy, which is a song or a poem expressing sorrow, usually for one who has died. And yet, in the midst of this tragedy, we saw the incredible courage of first responders who rushed into danger without hesitation, often at great personal risk. And just as they responded then, our emergency responders continue to answer the call during moments of crisis when we need them most. I would imagine almost everyone in this room has been somehow impacted by that horrific event. And so before our handbells play this next piece, I want to invite us to observe a moment of silence so we can pause, reflect, and we can honor all of those who were impacted by the Oklahoma City bombing. Let's take a moment of silence. Friends, I would like to invite you, if you are currently serving or have served as one of our first responders, police officers, firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, any emergency personnel or medical service, would you please stand so we can thank you for your selfless work and the way that you watch over our communities each and every day. Thank you so much, friends. You may be seated. And would you also help me thank the gentleman that not only conducted that piece, but one of our very own musical heroes. He composed that piece, Mr. Hart Morris. If you can't tell, we love Mr. Hart Morris. He is awesome. Well, friends, we now turn to a piece that speaks to the heart of devotion and sacred worship. Jane Marshall was a gifted composer, conductor, and music educator who dedicated much of her life to enriching the choral tradition, particularly within the context of worship and the church. She believed in the power of music to connect the human spirit with the divine. Throughout her career, this musical heroine composed numerous choral works, hymns, and anthems. And this next piece, which I believe was one of her first compositions, if not her very first composition, still stands as one of her most significant contributions to the modern sacred choral repertoire. It's based on an anonymous 17th century Latin poem, which is a response to the work of Christ on the cross. We hope you enjoy Jane Marshall's My Eternal King. That's a good one. That's a good one. Friends, will you help me thank our chancel choir one more time? All right, now for another one of those heroes I mentioned at the beginning. It's going to be a little different, a little fun. But this next arrangement has been commissioned specifically for our orchestra for this event tonight, and it features some of the most iconic themes from classic American crime-fighting TV shows. These crime-fighting heroes and heroines not only entertain millions, but also shape the way we view heroism in modern culture. From the cool, calm detective to the quirky spies and the action-packed team, they each brought something unique to the table as they fought for justice. Amazingly, I don't know if you recognize this, but amazingly, they were usually able to resolve some pretty significant conflicts in about 30 or 60 minutes each week. It was pretty incredible. So friends, sit back, relax, and enjoy this fun, nostalgic medley of some of the most famous crime-fighting heroes and heroines to ever grace our screen. This is Steve Malden's I Love It When a Medley Comes Together. Well, friends, Lift Every Voice and Sing is a hymn with lyrics written by James Weldon Johnson and set to music by his brother, John Rosamond Johnson. This song has become a symbol of hope, resilience, and a prayer for freedom. It is often referred to as the Black national anthem for its powerful role in African American culture, but its message reaches far beyond any one community. It captures the hope that no matter the pain of our present circumstance, freedom and justice are always within reach through faith, perseverance, and collective effort. So as our chamber choir sings this powerful song, let us give thanks to the many American heroes and heroines who have stood for justice and liberty. And friends, let us be inspired to do the same. This is Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Lift every voice and sing till all the heavens ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the glistening skies. Let it resound as the rolling sea.
Lift every voice and sing in spite of hatred, sing, echoing justice and love and unity. Let music swell the breeze, swaying through all the trees.
Each voice a call,
Every voice a
to
call.
make all
People, make all people free.
Let God's love flow from the lips of each sister and brother.
Let it flow from the lips of brothers.
Let wise words drip from the lips of each father and mother. Let us sing freedom's song, melody loud and strong.
This is a call,
This is a call.
this
This prayerful throng, this prayerful throng.
Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught.
Sing out a song from our dark past as
Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. God of our way
Well, friends, our next selection is a piece that has become synonymous with both the spirit of American patriotism and the call for justice. This anthem draws its powerful lyrics from a poem written by Julia Ward Howe during the American Civil War, a poem which quickly gained popularity as a rallying cry for Union soldiers. Howe's vision was to create a piece that not only captured the battle for the Union, but also a reflection of the divine purpose behind it. The idea that the fight was for justice, righteousness, and the freedom of all people. Howe's words have continued to resonate throughout the decades and continue to inspire Americans today. We hope you enjoy Peter Wilhowski's arrangement of the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Awesome. Friends, you may be seated. We do have one more song for you, but let me ask you, have you enjoyed our musical journey this evening, celebrating our American heroes and heroines? We do have one more for you, but before we do that, first I want to take a moment just to thank a few of our own heroes and heroines here who have made tonight possible. First, would you help me thank our wonderful production team who has made everything we see and hear possible. Would you help me give it up for our children's choir who got us kicked off tonight? Our jazz band, Asbury Power and Light, who got it going in the mood. Our handbell choir, under the direction of Mr. Hart Morris. Our chamber choir that you just heard from. And finally, friends, would you help me give a big round of applause to our incredible choir and orchestra? Well, friends, I have 3 invitations for you. Number 1, if you're here tonight and you don't have a regular church home, I sure hope that you'll join us next Sunday at our 9 or 11 o'clock service. We would love to have you back. Number 2, if you love to sing or if you play an instrument and you've enjoyed tonight, but more than that, you think, man, I would sure love to be a part of something like that, just come talk to me afterward. Would love to talk to you more about that and help you get involved. Number 3, on your way out in the west foyer right behind you, we have some sweet, cold treats to tide you over before you get to dinner. So please pick some of those up. You can eat them here while you hang out or take them on the road. Just our way of saying thank you so much for being here tonight. Well, friends, as we conclude this evening, we're going to do so by singing what many people would consider our country's the unofficial national anthem. If you would, I would invite you to stand and join us as we sing America the Beautiful. Friends, would you help me thank one more time our amazing choir and orchestra for leading us tonight? Friends, thank you so much for being here. God bless, and we hope to see you back here on Sunday, 9 a.m. and 11. God bless you. Have a wonderful night. Grab a sweet treat on the way.